That thumbnail was kind of sort of disgusting, but we're just gonna go with it, and this is not how I should start a video. Okay, don't you just love my intros? I basically always say okay, and I always basically, I don't know, am awkward with the camera. It's not very professional, like I'm walking in front of the camera, or I'm hitting start and it's a close-up. Anyway, so, and yes, I am in the same outfit as the previous video, which was part 1 to this mental health chit chat slash update. It's technically clean. I washed it yesterday before I wore it, and then I slept in it, and then I did shower, and now I'm back in it. And I did wear it like all day yesterday. But anyway, that's beside the point, and if more important matters, let's just continue the discussion, as in I rant and ramble at you guys, to you guys, and I'm just providing thoughts, experiences, stories, my perspective, where I'm at mentally, especially with my social anxiety and with my social interactions and plans, being more social and growing my social circle and just reconnecting with old friends and things and stuff of that nature and sort. And yeah, so yesterday for part 1, which was Sunday, excuse me, what was that? My phone is that away. Can't see it. I can't even see it. But today is Sunday the 25th. Yesterday, Saturday, am I saying this right? The 24th. Saturday the 24th, yesterday, part 1. And now today, Sunday the 25th, which is part 2. So, anyway, yesterday I talked more about my history with mental health and mental illness. I talked about the medications I took previously and my current meds right now. Then I talked about how I may be addicted and how I would love to stop taking meds one day. Hopefully that day comes on the sooner side, like fresh out of graduation, post-grad and everything. Hopefully that happens next year. I would love to graduate next year. But anyway, today's going to be more social anxiety as well as social interaction, friends, acquaintances, meeting new people, making new friends, and things and stuff like that. Anyway, so let's just begin. We'll go into the past little bit, these past few days, even weeks, especially last week, and I'll just talk about what I've been doing socially and trying to improve upon my social life. Little background though, obviously COVID has changed lives. It's hurt a lot of people, it's scared a lot of people, it's caused a lot of problems, obviously. And one problem, very small in comparison to the health of the world and everything, just society and all of us, just at risk. But especially like a minor problem, I guess, it can be pretty big. It depends on who you are and how much you need other people, if that makes sense. But it's the lack of interaction, and there was quarantine, there was isolation, there were phases and times during COVID, especially early on and even on and off up till now, and it also depends where you live and where you are right now. But it's just been a time of isolation, and it was kind of forced upon us. People wanted to be safe, and certain states did certain things, whatever. Here in Idaho, we're starting to not wear masks anymore. Like, it's not so much a requirement, it's not that enforced anymore. You go to the grocery store, and the vast majority don't have a mask on, So it just depends on your perspective, how you feel about the mask, where you are with that, your comfort zone, your comfort in that area, and then there's the vaccine, that's a different story. So all kinds of precautions and opinions and stances and standards on that, Where am I going with this? Right, the isolation though. So, like, I found out because of COVID that I really don't need people. I don't really rely on people. And I gotta try to keep this less than a half hour. The camera stops, it like rolls and stops after a half hour, So it wants me to shut up in that time frame. But anyway, I'll kind of be watching the clock, same as part 1. The corner of my eye, I'll keep track of whatever. But anyway, so I really learned, and COVID really taught me that I don't necessarily need people, and I really thrive off of and feed off of alone time. I have gone through phases and times and years in my life, especially high school, where I became and grew into an extrovert, and then my personality has referred back to my old state, more socially anxious, as well as just an independent, introverted personality once again. And maybe I'm not as content as I was when I went through the extroverted phase, but I was content in different areas. So right now I'm not as content with friends, which sounds kind of bad or mean, but I'm not saying it in that way. Whereas I'm more content with my alone time, and I have found that I'm more of an individualist, and I found out that I can do it. Like me, myself, and I don't need people, and I can be creative alone, and I can have creative alone time, and I just have time to write, time to work on videos, my two favorite things right now. I have time to be independent and really work on myself, and that's really what life is all about. But going back to the other thing, so a certain discontentment in friends, as in I'm not as comfortable around people anymore, even close friends, best friends, more than acquaintances, I'm just more anxious. And before, I felt, for a time anyway, 100% okay with people, even strangers. Not all the time, but I found it was more of a wave up and down, and I was just more comfortable and confident. And it could have been the Strattera. I was only on Strattera in high school, just throughout high school. And now I'm on 3 different meds, and now other things have arise, if that's a word, and they've come to pass. So I've had other symptoms and illnesses flare up and come up the past few years, and that could have also changed my extrovert phase back into more introvert. So I'm just not as comfortable, and that's where my discontentment in my friends and relationships lie. So my friendships are more of a struggle, but I'm really trying to improve upon this area, and I'm doing a few things. I've done a few things. I'm going to continue to go forth and pursue these things. So you go back the past few days, and you will have seen me be very social and engage in social contact and social whatever environments. So really last week, and I keep track, I have the notes app just full. I have just a bunch of notes on my notes. I have everything from story ideas to video ideas to names in my stories, like name ideas, character ideas, etc., etc. My favorite though is my to-dos list. So I just go by the week, and I love to get that little green check mark, check box, it's so good. And a lot of the things, I said that a lot of the things, they do stay the same, and they repeat, and I don't hit backspace, I don't delete those things. Like obviously class, that's throughout the semester, that's like a solid good 3 months. So that, for example, will stay there. And I'm trying to do certain things, like I want to run more, and I've done that. I started that up last week, and I want to walk my dog. I'm going to try that every day, rain or shine or even snow, and just things and stuff like that. So you go through the past few days, and we'll say Monday was the actual official start of improvement and working towards my goal of like reintegrating, if that's a thing, myself back into the world, back into society, and try to get past my anxious ways, I guess, per se. So with that, campus is very close to my house. It's like 5 minutes away. It depends on traffic, the busyness of that time of day when you're out and about. And everything's pretty close because this is a small town, BYU, Idaho area. It's just a college town, and there's college kids, and that can add up and be a lot of people on the road. But for the most part, where I live is a pretty quiet, slow town, right? And so I've been doing the indoor track. Yes, you have to wear a mask, and yes, I have exercise-induced asthma, but it does beat running outside. I just can't with my asthma. It just doesn't end well, and I feel very sick. Although on Monday, I was coughing, I felt like I was gonna die. My chest was sore, my throat was tight, but it went away soon after, so that was all good. I think I even had a bath, and the steam helped. But then I go back on Tuesday, and it was the same thing. I was planning on only walking, but I changed my mind, and I decided to run as well. So I did like 3 laps both days, Monday and Tuesday, 2 days in a row. So I ran those 3 laps, then I walked about 2. So it added up to be a mile of run walking, I guess. And it felt so good. I didn't run for the rest of the week. I just wanted a break, and I'm just starting and getting back into it. I legit haven't run for like a year, which is crazy. But it's forcing me to even see people. I'm not necessarily talking to people or really interacting unless somebody is going to ask me for directions or somebody compliments me or I feel the need or the want to compliment somebody else. Just small everyday things like that. And maybe I should try those things because that can help me go in the direction of discomfort, which will test my anxiety and increase my confidence, and so that I can get that confidence back, that comfort with people that I used to have years ago, especially before COVID. And so that's the running. And then you skip to Wednesday, and my dad, I swear, his birthday was like 5 days in a row, okay? And I say that because we have family in town. My sister, her family, my brother, his family. They're the two oldest kids in my family. Then I got a sister and her spouse way on like the other side of the globe. Not really, but they're just back east. And then our brother is on a mission for our church. He's in California. Comes home in like 2 months though, like 2 months exactly. So excited for that. But anyway, we had a bunch of grandkids, like everybody, all 6 of them, or 5 of the older ones, and there's a baby, you know. But my mascara is probably all crazy. But anyway, just about that. My dad's birthday was actually officially on the 22nd, which is Earth Day, which is like a birthday. Get the pun? But anyway, that was on Thursday, the 22nd. And the day before, Wednesday, like the grandkids come over, and there was the cake and the cuteness, and it was just a cute, fun time. I caught it on video and everything, and it was just a cute, good time. You know, it was just great. And then the next day, it was just me, my mom, and my dad. We went out to eat a local restaurant. They got the best burgers, and we spoiled my dad. We got him some gifts. I got him this journal with a picture of Christ on the front, and I think it really meant a lot to him. He's trying to journal and write more. He loves to write, same as me. And then the next day, Friday, it continues, right? We go out to eat as a family with my sister and her kids and my brother and his kids and everything. And so, I hope I said that right, sister, her, and then brother, his. Anyway, so it was just a really good time. And then also on Friday, before the out to eat with the family, I went with my cousin who's in town. She's a student here as well. And we walked the temple grounds. So if you're not LDS or Mormon, you might not know this, but there's our churches, which are like everywhere in town because it's highly and densely LDS populated, right? There's like churches everywhere. But then the big white buildings, that's kind of like a church. It's really called a temple. And they've been closed. The churches are starting to reopen. You still have to wear a mask though right now. But with the temple, it's still closed. However, you can walk the grounds. And we're going to try to do that every week. Hopefully the maintenance guy is there, that or the gates are open, you know, so that we can go through and not just like wander around on the outside perimeter. But it was just really good. We meditated, we prayed in our heads, we had our own little spaces. Like I was on one side, I was like trying to get away from the wind, and then my cousin Sage was in the sun, you know, so we had our own little spaces. And I was like under this, what's it called? I don't sound smart right now. But I was close to the doors, the entrance of the temple building, and I was like under a nice little like pavilion type thing. Words are very hard, and I'm an English minor, so this is highly embarrassing. I'm writing a book right now, also. But anyway, that was a weird noise. So yeah, that was a good time with my cousin Sage, and we used to go to the temple like inside actually. We used to go like once a week. This was before COVID, and now it's been a year of this, a year of quiet, no temple attendance, you know. And so it's just going to be good. Next time I'm going to have to bring my journal. Last time I just sat for like 20 minutes. Then we also took pictures. We really like photography, and that was a fun time. We got some cute pics of each other, like nice little selfies, and I even posted some. And that was Friday. And then you skip to yesterday, Saturday. My friend Breezy came over, and Breezy has chronic fatigue and health problems. And so she, like me, has to cancel plans at times. My thing is more anxiety based, so I'll have to cancel last minute or just say no to things sometimes because my anxiety has peaked or I feel like it will peak and I'm just not doing good mentally or upstairs, you know. But Breezy was able to come, and I was just so very excited and grateful, and it was a really good time. I could tell she needed it, and I definitely did too. And it was like a celebration. We survived the first week of classes. That's another thing I'll get to. And I'm just so very grateful for her. She's a great friend, and I haven't seen her since like the end of last year, maybe even Halloween, I don't know. She was going to come over before the semester ended, before she went back to DC, back home, but that didn't happen because she had like a flight problem. She was stressed and had to solve that night instead of coming over and saying bye. But I don't know. There's hair here. Gross. But anyway, she even said like this was her favorite part of the week. Like this was the highlight. She's been so excited about this all week, just coming over. We just watched like a nature show. It was like a documentary on orca whales and other whales, and it was just so cute. And we got ice cream. I've never tried that kind. It was a brand that my dad found, and it was a nice Oreo. And you open it, and you see this perfect Oreo on the top, and it was just perfect. I gave it to her. I'm such a good friend. And then I even made some shepherd's pie, and it was really good. It got cold because we kept on talking at the table. And then we also played games. We did bananagrams. We did FaceTime. I taught her how to play FaceTime. Hopefully I explained it well. I'm not the best explainer, but I love talking and explaining things. Obviously, you know me. And then she brought some cookies from a place here in town, and they're just so good. You have to break them up into like four. I said that weird. I'm saying everything so weird, but just so you can like taste test and share, and they're just giant ass desserts, you know. So shepherd's pie. I even gave her some at the end, and it was just so good. The cookies, the ice cream, the games, the shepherd's pie, the talking, the catching up. It's been so long, and just she's such a good friend. I love Breezy. So Sage and Breezy were my social. Today was more social, and I went to church with my guy friend Chuchi, and I could only do the first hour. I didn't tell him that. If he does ask me in the future anytime soon, I'll just tell him. My anxiety was really bad, and I had just been planning on only the first hour of church just due to my social anxiety, and this being my first time going to church in like over a year with people my own age. So long story short, a ward here is basically because of where you live, you go to church at a certain time with a certain group of people. It's like by location and boundaries, you know? And so, because I live at home here in town as a student, I'm allowed to go to any young single adult or YSA ward that I want to go to. And this is now my third, so I'm going to transfer my information from my old ward to now Chuchi's ward to be with him so that I'm more comfortable and have a friend. So I was in Breezy's last time. Then the time before that, I was in Michaela's and Katie's, some of my girlfriends. And that was all through Katie. That's how I met Michaela and Chuchi, that first ward that I went to. And that was like the start of 2020 before COVID. And then 2020 later on, this was last year, I went to Breezy's ward, so I switched. And now I'm going to switch to Chuchi's this year, 2021, this semester. And with Breezy and her health, I couldn't really go all that much, and I don't think she's offended. And I say I couldn't really go all that much. Well, okay, I'm not explaining this well at all. But because of her health, she couldn't go to church every Sunday. Like, she was gone like half the time because she was too tired, too sore, totally understandable. And I didn't want to go alone, and I wasn't really comfortable enough to really talk to other people and make new friends. And I don't think she's offended by me going to a different person's ward, another friend's, who is Chuchi, you know, and she totally understands, you know, and plus Chuchi's very outgoing and very extroverted. He just makes friends so easily, and he just knows people. So through him, I'm really going to be able to meet new people and make new friends, and I think it will get me out of my comfort zone, and I'll be braver, and I'll talk more. Not that there's anything wrong with being quiet, but I think for me, it's really healthy and necessary for me to get to that place and point. And so I did do the thing called sacrament today, which is the first hour of church. Or with them, it's like a half hour. I think this ward is going to be, it depends on the ward and who's in charge and all of the people, you know, and it's based on what the adults want to do, you know. But I think it's going to add up to be an hour. I didn't go to the other half, the other part, just because, again, my anxiety. But the first time was really good. So Chuchi comes in late, and then he like waves me over when he sits down, and I'm like towards the back, so I go in the front where he was, he and his two roommates, I think there were two of them. And so I sit by him, and I was just so grateful for that. It was just really comforting to have a friend, and he's a really cool kid. He's come to things over at my house, like dinners and parties before COVID, movie nights and things. He's just a really good friend. So he's really cool. And he's from mainland China, so that's very cool as well. Because of COVID, he hasn't been home or seen his family in so long, which is just crazy and pretty sad to me, especially because I've gotten so close to my family these past few months and during COVID and quarantine and things. I'm like out of breath. So yeah, what else? School, okay, so I have not been in an official actual classroom for over a year now because of COVID and there being online and remote class options so made available to me and to everyone. And people are really taking advantage of this time, especially us introverts who thrive off of online classes and adore them and prefer them over in-person on-campus classes. And this is crazy, and I'm so grateful for this. It is a beautiful fact. It is just glorious. So by the time I graduate, I will have taken the vast majority of classes for my major and classes for my minor online. I will probably have only had to take on campus maybe a solid 10, 15 tops if I had to guess, classes in an actual physical classroom. Everything else I've been able to do online or remotely. There was a semester, like 2 semesters ago, or is it 3 now? 2 semesters ago, I took 7 bloody blasted classes, 7. They were all online, and it was amazing. They all, I think they all, right, counted towards, maybe it's just 5. I need to keep track. Last semester, there were 2 that didn't count. They were like electives. But I think 7 really did count, which was amazing. They did, now that I'm thinking back on it, because it added up to be 10 classes in 2 semesters that counted towards my degree and graduation and everything. Isn't that just fabulous? Amazing. So that just goes to show that COVID has changed things, because that would be unheard of like two years ago. Like, there's no way that that was even a possibility or a thought. But it definitely has happened and blessed and changed some lives, especially me. Like, I don't know how many classes I would have passed or failed had I had to take them on campus and in an actual classroom, because my anxiety can be so bad and it can be very hard for me to learn. Like, I've taught kids at church, and I've babysat, and I've worked with a boy with autism. He was age 13 and 14, you know? So, and I've also been a nanny. So, like, I've been interacting with kids, you know, and there's grandkids over all the time. I got nephews and one niece. So, I've been exposed to different age groups, and I'm comfortable around them. I'm not comfortable with my own age group as a learner, as a student, but I like to teach. I like to help kids learn and grow. I think it's so much fun, and it's just so satisfying and inspiring, and it just makes you feel so grateful and blessed that you can inspire and serve. So anyway, that's a whole other thing. That's a different story. But yes, I'm not on campus this semester. I was planning on it, but I was like, I want a quieter semester. I've worked so hard. I don't know the last time I've had like a so-called quiet semester. I got one class. It's a core education class. It's about writing conferences, which I love. It's more English-based, but still education for my major, you know, so I'm just feeling so good. It's remote. It's amazing. The teacher's really nice and cutesy and quirky, and she's just a lot of fun. She really knows her stuff, and I can tell that she cares about our education and our experience. And I've just had such a good school experience so far. Like, it's not ideal. I would prefer being at another school with a crazier. This place is just so strict, but I don't know. I would prefer being at a school that were more laid back and not Mormon, but again, that's a different story. A lot of these things I'm saying are just different stories, maybe for another day, another time. Let's see what we're at. Okay, and that's my room, the rest of my room. Anyway, so I'll just say a few more things and stuff and then wrap it up. So, let's see, I talked about the running, the exercise. I've talked about friends, temple trip, friend over last night, going to church with a friend, talked about family things. With church though, there's this thing called Family Home Evening, FHE, and I haven't been to that in like so long. I wouldn't really go when I was in like my first YSA ward here, but I'm gonna be planning on going, especially because Chi Chi's there and he's just really cool. So that's like activities and events that you go to with your age group, like in a smaller group, you know. So I'll try to be brave and do that more. Not go every time because that can be exhausting for me. Sometimes I'll just have to skip or whatever, just have breaks. But I think that would be a really good thing. And then trips. Okay, trips. So my friend Emily, since I moved here, I've seen her twice as well as Chris. You know, I went back to my hometown and that was just so great for a few days both times, and I flew there and back, and it was just such a good time and experience. I'm so grateful and glad for that. And then I saw my friend Keely in Utah, so I just drove there and back. My mom did her thing, my parents did their thing there in Utah, and then I was dropped off at my friend's and I stayed with her the night and for like 2 days, and that was just so good. And I met her at work. This was last year, 2020. And then also, I'm going to go see my friend Michaela in Illinois, and I've missed her. I haven't seen her since before COVID hit, and she's been home trying to save a buck and work at home and do school online, and she might be able to do her whole degree, like the remainder of her school and education online, which is amazing. I'm so jealous of that. She wants to be a counselor, I think, if I'm right. We're going to do like aquarium, we're going to do museums, we're going to do food. It's just going to be great. I'll have to vlog. And I want to see my friend Kens, I want to see Mariah, I want to see Haley. Well, I always call her Haley Reed. I want to see my friends back home in Tri-Town, well, Tri-Cities, where I used to live, you know, back in Washington. And anyway, what are we at now? 26. Oh, and there, you see that still? Kind of. Okay, I'll just wrap this up really fast. So those are trips as well, and I'm really trying to make my school experience fun and take more breaks. And I was never a person who really did trips until I moved here because I've made more friends and connections, and I just have people kind of spaced out everywhere, you know. So I'm really grateful for that. I would love my sister Haley to come here, or maybe I go there sometime. We want to go to Disneyland. We are going to go to Hawaii, so again, I'm going to have to do a vlog there as well. And it will just be so great. Then my brother comes home, going to be doing lawns. I don't know if I'm going to work this semester, so I can work on my book and work on lawns with my family. You know, we mow lawns. We haven't for a few years now, like since before we moved. But anyway, in the social anxiety, I'm working on phone calls, I'm working on appointments, and I'm working on certain errands, especially drive-thrus. So I'm trying to put myself out there in those 3 areas. Other people, they can do those things no problem, but with me, it's just, like, I've done a lot of appointments of late, like the IUD dentist appointment, and then a phone call for surgery I'm going to have, and then also I have a phone call on Tuesday. I made the appointment last week, and with that appointment, that's just about my grad plan, so it's very much needed. And Breezy, I found out she also has phone anxiety, and that's why she's not seeing a counselor right now, because you have to make an appointment over the phone. Isn't that sad? I mentioned that a few times now. Okay, I'll just say a few more things and stuff. Sorry again. But yeah, and also walking my dog. I've been feeling more paranoid walking and driving, just out and about, you know, just feeling like all eyes are on me. So I'm trying to go out more and do that, like errands for my family too. So with the social anxiety, I'm really trying to face it. And Breezy and I were talking about this last night, and it's just good to really face it and try to get past it. Just enjoy the moment and not dread and fear it. Because the more you dread and fear anxiety, the more depressed you are, the more anxious you are, and it's just harder. So anyway, good things are happening, and I'm trying to stay positive, and I'm feeling really good right now. We're gonna have some family over tonight. Gonna work on uploading this, and maybe Grandma Rose, I should maybe talk to my friend Ken's and do like a voiceover with her. And I'm gonna be cut off now. Okay, thanks for listening. Bye.